Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive?
Yeah.
Today we're cracking open Carl Sagan's Pale Blue Dot.
Ooh, excellent choice.
It really is. And I was thinking this book,
Mm.
it really digs into something we all feel, right?
Yeah.
That urge
Oh,
to
totally.
explore, to see what's beyond the horizon.
It's like it's baked into us, that need to discover, to push further.
I mean, just think about it for a sec.
Okay.
Way before Columbus, people from Indonesia were already sailing the Pacific.
Isn't that incredible?
And there's even evidence that Chinese ships rounded the Cape of Good Hope centuries before Europeans.
It makes you realize, right, how much we're driven by this need to see what's out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Sagan, he gets right to the heart of it. He argues that even when we settled down, built cities, started farming, that urge, it never really went away.
It's like a flame passed down through generations.
But then that makes you wonder why. I mean, we're not running from saber-toothed tigers anymore.
Right.
We're not exactly hunting and gathering for survival.
Well, think about our ancestors for a second. They couldn't predict the future.
True.
Droughts, famines, who knew what tomorrow would bring?
Yeah, it was a tough life.
So venturing out, exploring, it wasn't just curiosity.
It was about survival, too.
Exactly. It was a necessity. You're facing hardship, and suddenly, the unknown, it starts looking like an opportunity.
So it was like a mix of necessity and maybe, I don't know, a sense of hope.
Right. That's it. Hope for something better, maybe a fresh start. And honestly, don't we still feel that pull today?
Totally. It's just expressed differently now, maybe.
Absolutely. We're constantly adapting, right? Trying to learn new things, make our lives a little bit better.
It's that same drive pushing us forward.
And Sagan, he illustrates this perfectly with a story about his grandfather, Leib Gruber.
Oh, yeah. What was his story?
So he starts in Europe. Imagine this. He's a human beast of burden.
Wow.
Literally carrying people across a river.
No way.
And then he becomes an immigrant in America.
That's quite a leap. Must have taken some serious courage to make a change like that.
It did, but it shows how powerful that drive is, the urge for something more.
To risk it all for a chance at a better life.
Exactly. And it reminds me, we might not face those same hardships.
Right.
But we still face challenges. We still yearn for a better future. And that drive, it's still there, pushing us.
That's part of who we are.
I think so.
And speaking of perspective, I think it's time we talked about that iconic image, the pale blue dot.
Ah, yes. Powerful stuff.
That photo taken by Voyager 1 billions of miles away.
Earth, just a tiny speck, almost lost in all that vastness.
Makes you realize how small we are, doesn't it?
It's humbling, isn't it? Sagan's description, it just gets to you.
I know. What was it he said? Something about everyone we know.
Everyone we know, everything we've ever heard of, all on that tiny dot.
Wow.
All our triumphs or struggles, all happening on this one fragile world.
Really puts things in perspective.
Forces us to confront it, Our shared heritage, this interconnectedness.
It's like all those differences that seem so big.
Yeah.
Suddenly they fade away.
Borders disappear.
We're all just earthlings.
We are citizens of this one precious planet. And that shift, that's what Sagan calls deprovincialization.
Deprovincialization.
Yeah. It's about expanding our horizons, breaking free from those limited viewpoints we can get stuck in.
Makes sense.
And exploration, both physically, going out there, and intellectually, opening our minds. That's how we break free.
Like the ancient Greeks.
Yeah.
Right. They thought Earth was the center of everything.
For centuries, they believed that, until they started exploring, observing, discovering other worlds.
It must have been mind-blowing for them, realizing their whole understanding was, wrong.
Completely overturned. It's like realizing your neighborhood isn't the only one in town.
And that makes you wonder, what truths are we clinging to now that might be completely off?
Exactly. That's the beauty of exploration. It forces us to confront those assumptions, to question what we think we know.
And be open to new possibilities, even if they're a little unsettling at first.
That's it. Have you ever had that moment?
Oh, yeah.
Where something you learned, it just flipped your whole perspective?
Totally. It's amazing how one piece of information can completely change everything.
It's those moments that make it all worthwhile, those intellectual leaps that push us forward. And that's what Sagan is urging us to do. Stay curious, keep asking questions, because clinging to those limited views, it only holds us back.
It's like putting blinders on. You miss the bigger picture.
And there's no bigger picture than the search for life beyond Earth.
That age-old question, are we alone?
Still captivates us, doesn't it?
Totally. It's like we're looking for a cosmic connection, a sign that we're not alone, in this vast universe.
Sagan, he was all about that search, a true advocate.
I was reading about those potential radio signals from '92.
Oh, yeah. Those caused quite a stir.
It felt like we were on the verge of a huge discovery.
It did. But turned out those signals, just a natural phenomenon. Bummer.
Yeah, interstellar twinkling, they call it.
Still, the fact that we're even looking shows how far we've come, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Our curiosity and our methods are always evolving.
We're not just sitting back listening either.
Right. What about those Voyager golden records?
Sending those messages into space, it's like
a cosmic message in a bottle. Right?
That's it. Hoping it washes up on some distant shore.
It's beautiful, in a way, that desire to connect.
That longing to know we're not alone.
But as we're looking out, Sagan also urges us to look inward.
To our own planet, to the challenges we face.
Yeah, he really connects those dots, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Between studying Venus's atmosphere and, the threat to our ozone layer.
It makes you realize all these different fields of study,
right.
They're connected.
They can lead to these unexpected discoveries.
Yep.
Who knew studying another planet could teach us so much about our own?
Exactly. Venus, with its runaway greenhouse effect,
yeah,
it was a wake-up call. A glimpse into what could happen if we don't take care of our own atmosphere.
It's a stark reminder that what we do here matters.
It does. And that's why Sagan, he stresses this need for global cooperation.
To tackle those big challenges.
Yeah, climate change, that's a planetary issue.
It's going to take all of us working together.
He says if we can shift our perspective, see ourselves as crewmates, not just passengers on this pale blue dot.
Right, working together for the common good.
Then maybe, just maybe, we can steer towards a more sustainable future.
It's that deprovincialization again, right?
It all comes back to that.
Seeing ourselves as earthlings first.
It might be our only hope.
And it's interesting how Sagan ties that to expanding beyond Earth, the idea of terraforming, making other planets more like home.
Sounds like science fiction, doesn't it?
A little bit, yeah. But he approaches it carefully.
He does, weighing the possibilities, but also the ethical concerns.
It's not just about, conquering new worlds.
Right.
It's about responsibility.
Terraforming Mars, for example.
It would be an amazing feat. Imagine that.
Imagine a whole new world for humanity.
But what if there's microbial life already there? Do we have the right to change that?
Those are the questions we need to be asking.
It's a big responsibility.
Huge. And Sagan, he gets to the heart of it.
What does he say?
He says, can we who have made such a mess of this world be trusted with others?
Wow. That's a powerful question.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? About our past mistakes, our current actions, and what kind of future we want to create.
That's a lot to process.
It is.
This deep dive has taken us from, the dawn of humanity to the edges of the universe.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We've explored our curiosity, the fragility of our planet, and the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead.
And we've only just begun to scratch the surface.
It's amazing how much one book can spark so many thoughts and questions.
It is. And as we wrap up this first part of our deep dive,
yeah,
I want to leave you with something to ponder.
Okay, Amy.
If we were to meet another intelligent species, what would we want them to know about us? What represents the best of humanity? That's a great question to consider.
It is. Think about the legacy we're creating on our pale blue dot, how our actions today will shape the future.
It's food for thought for sure.
We'll be back in part 2 to continue exploring pale blue dot.
Can't wait. We'll be diving deeper into Sagan's insights on science, religion, the search for meaning in the cosmos, all that good stuff.
It's going to be a wild ride.
So make sure you join us for the rest of this incredible journey. Until then, keep looking up and keep exploring.
See you next time.
Welcome back. It's amazing how Sagan, he just weaves together all these different ideas.
He does. Astronomy, history, philosophy, even personal stories.
It's like this tapestry of human curiosity and our place in the universe. It's really something.
He makes you think about things you never even considered before.
Right. And in this next part, he dives into this concept of human chauvinism.
Human chauvinism. I'm not sure I've heard that one before.
It's like this tendency we have to put ourselves at the center of everything. Assuming that our way of thinking, our values, even our planet, that it's all somehow special or unique.
It's like that saying, the universe doesn't revolve around you.
Exactly. And Sagan, he uses this idea of deprovincialization to dismantle those biases, to show us just how vast and diverse the universe really is.
So it's about broadening our perspective, getting outside of our own little bubble.
That's it. It's a journey of humbling realizations.
So where do we even begin to unravel this human-centered thinking?
Well, he takes us all the way back to the ancient Greeks.
Oh, okay.
Remember, they believed in a geocentric universe.
Earth at the center.
With everything revolving around us.
Yeah, I remember learning about that. From our viewpoint here, it kind of makes sense.
It does. But how did they break free from that limited view?
Good question. I mean, that must have been a huge shift in thinking.
It took some brave thinkers who dared to challenge the status quo.
Yeah.
People like Aristarchus of Samos.
Okay.
He proposed a heliocentric model, putting the sun at the center.
With Earth and the other planets orbiting around it.
Exactly. Imagine how radical that must have sounded back then.
Whoa, yeah, totally. To have your whole understanding of the universe just flipped like that.
It's a real mind bender.
Were people open to that idea? I mean, it's such a big change.
Not always. Centuries later, Galileo, he championed the heliocentric view, but he got into some serious hot water with the church.
Oh, right, because it challenged their authority.
If Earth wasn't the center of the universe, maybe the church wasn't the center of everything either.
Makes you wonder, was it really about science or was it about power?
Probably a bit of both, to be honest. Galileo, he ended up on trial, forced to recant his views.
That's crazy. But even under house arrest, his ideas continued to spread, right?
They did. And it shows how powerful these challenges to the status quo can be, and how sometimes scientific progress, it means overcoming these deeply held beliefs.
It's a reminder that we should always be questioning, always be open to new ideas.
Absolutely. And once we accepted that Earth wasn't the center, well, the next big question naturally emerged.
What's that?
Are we the only ones? The only planet with life?
The big question. Are we alone?
And Sagan, he was a huge advocate for searching for that answer.
I remember reading about those potential radio signals from 1992.
Oh yeah, those were exciting times.
It felt like we were on the verge of first contact.
It did. Turns out it was just interstellar twinkling.
A natural phenomena.
But the fact that we were looking, that we're still looking, it speaks volumes.
It shows how our curiosity, our methods, they're always evolving.
We're getting better at searching, but we're not just listening passively either.
Right. We're sending out messages, too, like those Voyager Golden Records.
Like throwing a message in a bottle out into the cosmic ocean.
Hoping it reaches someone, somewhere.
That deep-seated desire to connect, it's powerful stuff.
It is. And this search for extraterrestrial life, it goes beyond just science, doesn't it?
You're right. It's a philosophical quest, too. A search for meaning. What would it mean for humanity if we weren't alone?
It would change everything, wouldn't it?
It would. We'd have to rethink our place in the universe, our significance. It would be humbling, but also exhilarating to know life exists elsewhere.
It all comes back to that deprovincialization, right?
It does. Challenging those assumptions, recognizing the vastness and diversity of the universe.
Our way of thinking, our planet, it might not be the norm.
We're just one small part of something much, much bigger.
So how do we apply this idea of deprovincialization to our own lives here on Earth?
It starts with being open.
Open to.
New ideas, new perspectives, even if they make us uncomfortable.
Challenging our own beliefs.
Exactly. Being willing to learn, to grow, to step outside of our comfort zones.
To embrace the unknown.
And recognize that we don't have all the answers, that there's always more to learn.
It's like that saying, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
That's it.
Yeah.
Sagan, he's encouraging us to stay curious, to keep asking questions.
And, thinking about all this, it makes me think about how divided we are here on Earth.
Oh, absolutely.
We could really use some of that deprovincialization, right?
Couldn't we? So much focus on what separates us instead of what unites us.
If we could see ourselves as citizens of Earth, as crewmates on this pale blue dot.
Instead of members of different tribes constantly fighting.
Maybe we could start to address those big challenges we face, like climate change.
It's a global problem that requires global solutions.
But it can feel so overwhelming. Where do we even begin?
Sagan reminds us that we have a choice.
We do.
We can either cling to those narrow perspectives, and you know what?
Yeah.
That path, it leads to self-destruction.
It's a scary thought.
It is. Or we can embrace a more expansive view. Recognize our shared humanity.
Our connection to each other, to this planet.
And to future generations. It's about taking responsibility, not just for ourselves.
But for the future of humanity.
That's it. It's not about escaping a dying Earth. It's about creating a better future. Here and out there among the stars.
Expanding our horizons, both physically and intellectually.
Embracing the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. And one thing that really strikes me about Sagan,
What's that?
he manages to weave together these grand cosmic themes with these really personal reflections.
He does. It makes him so relatable, even when he's talking about complex ideas.
He brings it back to the human experience, to what it means to be alive in this vast universe.
And in this next section, we're going to explore one of his most poignant reflections, his vision of a future where humanity has expanded beyond Earth.
Oh, yeah. This is where he talks about scaling heaven.
Settling other worlds. It's always felt so hopeful to me, so ambitious.
It is. He starts by acknowledging that drive we talked about, that itch to explore.
It's not just a whim. It's part of who we are.
It's a survival mechanism, something that's driven us throughout history.
Like our ancestors venturing out into the unknown. And now, as we face new challenges here on Earth, like climate change, the idea of expanding beyond Earth, it doesn't seem so far-fetched anymore.
It starts to feel like a necessity, a way to ensure our survival.
And Sagan, he sees it as more than just finding a new home, right?
He does. He talks about safeguarding humanity from those catastrophic events like asteroid impacts by having a presence on other worlds.
That's like a backup plan for the species.
Exactly, spreading our eggs across multiple baskets.
But is it just about survival?
No, there's more to it than that. He sees it as an opportunity, a chance for us to learn and grow.
To evolve as a species, to push the boundaries of knowledge.
That's it. To explore new worlds, to make new discoveries. Who knows what we might find out there?
It's exciting. But I can't help but wonder, are we just going to take our problems with us? Will we make the same mistakes on other planets?
It's a valid concern. And Sagan, he doesn't shy away from those tough questions.
What does he say?
He raises those ethical questions about our right to alter other planets, especially if there might be life already there.
Like microbial life on Mars.
Exactly. It's not just about the technology. It's about responsibility. It's a philosophical challenge as much as a technological one.
So we have to ask ourselves, what kind of future do we want to create in space? Do we want to repeat our mistakes? Or can we strive for something better?
That's the question. What kind of legacy do we want to leave?
It's a big responsibility to be shaping the future, not just for ourselves, but for potentially generations to come.
And Sagan, he seems to believe we're capable of better, that space exploration can inspire us to rise to the occasion.
To be more innovative, more cooperative, more compassionate.
That's it. He sees those astronauts, those cosmonauts, as heroes, as symbols of human ingenuity and courage.
But it's not going to be easy, is it?
Yeah.
The technological hurdles, the costs, the risks, it all seems so daunting.
It won't be easy. But the potential rewards,
Yeah.
the scientific discoveries, the new technologies, the possibility of finding life beyond Earth, it's all worth striving for.
He's challenging us to dream big, to see the potential for a brighter future.
Not just for ourselves, but for all of humanity. And, even in the face of all these challenges, Sagan, he never loses that optimism, that sense of wonder about the cosmos.
It's contagious. It makes you want to believe that we can overcome these obstacles, that we can create a better future.
And that brings us to the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore one of the most mind-bending ideas in Pale Blue Dot, the concept of a multiverse.
Welcome back for the final part of our Pale Blue Dot deep dive.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
We've explored so much already.
From our innate desire to explore to Sagan's vision of humanity expanding beyond Earth.
It's been mind-blowing. And now we're tackling something even more mind-boggling.
Oh, yeah.
The concept of a multiverse.
Now we're getting to some really big questions.
I know, this one really stretches my imagination. So what exactly is a multiverse?
Well, it's the idea that our universe, vast as it is.
Right. Mind-bogglingly vast.
It might be just one of many universes.
Wait, how many are we talking?
Potentially infinite.
Whoa, hold on. So there could be countless other universes out there, completely separate from our own.
That's the idea. Some theories suggest these universes are totally isolated,
Okay.
while others say they might be connected somehow, maybe even interacting in ways we can't even imagine.
Whoa, that's a lot to wrap my head around. But if we can't even see these other universes, how do we even know they exist?
You're right, it's mainly theoretical right now. There's no direct evidence, not yet anyway.
Okay, so it's a hypothesis.
But some intriguing theories do point in that direction.
Like what?
Well, there's string theory, for one.
Ah, string theory. The one about tiny vibrating strings making up everything.
That's the one. It gets pretty complex.
I've tried to wrap my head around it before. It's pretty out there.
It is. But there's also inflationary cosmology.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that one.
It describes this period of super fast expansion in the very early universe.
Okay.
And some physicists think that could create multiple bubble universes.
Bubble universes.
Yeah, each with its own set of physical laws, totally different from our own.
So even if we can't prove it yet, why is it even worth considering? What's the point of pondering something so theoretical?
Because it pushes us to think beyond the limits of what we currently know.
It challenges those assumptions again.
It does. The multiverse, it's like this invitation to consider possibilities that seem totally outlandish at first,
Yeah.
but could revolutionize how we see the cosmos and our place in it.
It's like opening a door to a whole new realm of possibilities.
That's a great way to put it. Sagan, he's always encouraging us to keep an open mind.
To embrace the mystery of the unknown.
And that openness, it's not just for science, it's for life in general.
I like that. It reminds me of how Sagan talks about those ancient Greeks resisting the idea that Earth wasn't the center of everything.
It shattered their worldview.
And thinking about the multiverse, it kind of has a similar effect, doesn't it? It makes our own little world seem so much smaller.
It challenges our perception of reality. Maybe our reality isn't the only one.
So even if the multiverse theory turns out to be wrong, just thinking about it can be beneficial.
Totally. It stretches our imagination, makes us more receptive to new ideas.
And maybe even a little more humble, right?
Recognizing that there might be so much more out there than we can even grasp right now.
You know, it almost feels like a metaphor for the human experience.
How so?
Well, each of us, we live in our own little universe with our own unique perspectives and experiences.
That's a really interesting way to look at it.
And just like those theoretical universes, maybe we're connected in ways we don't fully understand.
Our lives intersecting, influencing each other.
It's like Sagan's message of deprovincialization applied to our own lives.
It is. Challenging our limited viewpoints, embracing the unknown, recognizing the interconnectedness of all things.
Whether it's our planet, our universe, or maybe even a multiverse.
We're all part of something much larger than ourselves.
And that's a humbling thought, but also kind of exciting, don't you think?
It is. It fills you with a sense of wonder and possibility.
Just like Pale Blue Dot itself.
Sagan's book, it's a reminder that even in the face of the vastness of the cosmos, we have the power to shape our own destiny.
To choose our path, to make a difference.
And as we wrap up this incredible journey through Pale Blue Dot, I keep coming back to that line. For small creatures such as we, the vastness is bearable only through love.
It's so beautiful and so true. We need those connections, that sense of belonging, to make sense of it all.
To appreciate the beauty and wonder of the cosmos.
And to strive to create a future worthy of this pale blue dot we call home.
Well said.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Pale Blue Dot. Keep looking up, keep asking those big questions.
And keep exploring.
Until next time.